My bad.
All right, fellas, what's going on? We are live. It is Sunday, week 9. A lot of fun games on this week. I think this is actually one of the more intriguing slates that I've seen in a while. I mean, some of the games are pretty dumpster fiery on the 1 p.m. slate, but whoops, that's not where we want here. There we go. Now we're up here. So we're going to go through the Flock questions as per usual. If you guys do want to skip the line and ask a question over on Flock, it is linked down below in the description of this live stream. I will also drop it into the chat, and we'll get through as many questions as we can here. So the first question we also have a new feature on here too, where you guys can see like, who exactly is like the highest, biggest supporter and stuff, or I guess maybe that's just on our end of things. But if you guys are big supporters of us on Flock, we'll definitely reward you with free questions and things of that nature. So that should be good to know. Oh, I'm actually looking at my rankings right now.
That's what I was going to point out. You're looking at the
wrong so you guys can see it there in the top left corner.
Yeah.
Boot asking questions and stuff. But yeah, we have top supporters and such now that we can go over. But let's start with the first question from Blau here.
Yeah, first one from Blau. He does basically just want us to set his lineup. I mean, Tyrone Tracy and Josh Jacobs are locks to make my lineup. Actually, let's look at the wide receivers. Set the wide receivers first because we might have a decision with the running backs. Yeah, I mean, when you okay,
what is this team, bro?
Yeah, so I would say Tracy and Jacobs aren't locks now, considering you can only start one of them.
Okay, well, which one are we starting at the running back position? Is it Tracy or is it Jacobs?
I love my boy Tracy, but you got to go with the process. Jordan Love is healthy. That is a very high game environment. And Josh Jacobs himself has been playing some good football. So
might have some weather as well. So it's possible that Jacobs gets a lot of work because of that.
I love my guy Tracy. I can't do it over Jacobs this week. This question, I mean, Neighbors is the lock one. Actually, you got a Monra too? What?
I have Tyreek the highest out of this group, so I would put Tyreek in first.
Are you just sitting the Rams receivers?
I would sit Puka for sure because Puka is, kind of coming into this game a little bit banged up. We don't know what his snap share is going to look like. And for that reason, I think Kupp needs to be raised up a little bit.
I can't play him over Neighbors. It's just not happening.
This is crazy, dude. How do you have this good of a team?
I'm a full PPR.
I'm not sitting Neighbors against Washington. Benjamin St. Juste is horrible.
Dude, and it's the same defense. He dropped 10 for 127 and 1 against in week 2, by the way.
So call me crazy here, but I think I might sit St. Brown for Kupp. Because St. Brown has a pretty brutal matchup in the slot. There is some expected weather conditions in that Packers-Lions game, and it's just a bad passing matchup overall. I think with Nakua coming into the game banged up in such a good game environment with Rams-Seahawks, I would play Kupp over St. Brown.
This is my wide receiver 5 versus my wide receiver 7, so I will capitulate. I technically have Amon-Ra higher because he's been more consistent, but with that being said, it's like with Nakua banged up, good game environment, I'll capitulate. I love Kupp this week too. You won't have me talking any ill will to Kupp. I have did I tell you I have Neighbors, Kupp, and Nakua in my home league running this week, and it feels so great having that trio fully healthy.
Yeah, what you should do with this team, Blau, is go get yourself Bijan, someone to go along with Kyron Williams, because you're going to be starting all these receivers. Every week you're going to have like difficult decisions to make, so you might as well just pivot that into an elite running back 1 or a running back 2 so that you don't have to worry about that stuff.
You have to go and move a Monra for Saquon. Go do it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, hell, you could even too, like, I'm obviously not using Nakua or Kupp or any of those guys, but how much more from Jaden Daniels does it take to get you to Josh Allen as well? Because if you need to move off of Jacobs or Tracy or somebody like that to get to Josh Allen from Jaden Daniels, you should do that because your lineup is almost as perfect.
It's a start 7 league, so literally you're just going for the perfection, right? So yeah, great team. Wow, what a decision!
What a decision indeed. Okay,
he tied. He tied. I don't think I've ever seen a tie.
I also have never seen a tie either.
Sorry for blasting that, but holy, like that just got me excited. He needs an RB2. He's in a winning position. Is this a good trade? So, I mean, the clear 2 best players in this deal are Kenneth Walker and Brock Bowers. I would prefer Walker to Bowers. So let's just say Bowers plus Williams gets you. I mean, would you trade Walker for Bowers plus Williams? Like I think you take Walker on that side, right?
So Javonte isn't really consequential to this team or to this trade. I honestly just view it as
agree.
How deep is your wide receiver core? Like, what are the wide receivers you have? Because he does have his team listed here.
Lamb, BTJ, Worthy, Nico's coming back. Okay, so your receivers are stacked.
Yeah, your receivers, it's a start 7. So on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
you're going to have Lamb, BTJ, and Nico in there most weeks. So you can kind of afford to lose DJ Moore in this
I'm doing
trade.
this deal.
I think I'm doing this as well because knowing
Now,
that you have Gibbs and then you have Brooks coming back, but
question.
he can work into your flex and I think I'm doing this for
Is
Walker.
there any way you can convince him to send you Bijan instead of Walker? Because like again, I would do this deal as is, but like if you can also get Bijan instead of Walker, like I would rather Bijan.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally agree with that as well. I think that would make a lot of sense too.
To counter.
Ingram might be like tight end 8 versus tight end 1 for me with Bowers, but like Ingram's
Yeah.
gonna produce the rest of the
Oh,
season, and like he's gonna have point production. So it's a big value drop off from Bowers to Ingram, but as far as production value is concerned, like it might not actually be that big of a drop.
no, I really like Ingram rest of the season. Now it does suck because of course Sal actually has him this week, but hopefully he's not consequential to our matchup.
He might be. I mean, Sal's team is so bad and banged up right now that he's the only guy that can hurt you pretty much, Evan Ingram at this point in time.
Well, pretty much. Well, that's what makes it nerve-wracking because I've kind of been living off of like the underdog aspect as of these last few weeks because of my injuries. And now it's like, okay, everybody expects me to win. Like I haven't faced this since week 4 when I played Nathan and my whole team got hurt.
Yeah. I'll drop this Bijan question or this Bijan addition into the trade as well. So you can see that we kind of would prefer Bijan if you can make that happen. Maybe he's a little bit more into Walker than he is Bijan. You never know. I think league to league that decision point would differ for some people, but maybe he's more anchored to Bijan because he drafted him higher or whatever the case is, in which case I think Walker is still fine at that point in time. Eward man here, Saquon Barkley for Nico and Jaden Reed.
Yeah. Nico and Reed all day.
Yeah.
All day. Come on, Bush. When Nico's healthy, it's going to be a conversation of Nico versus Saquon, and you're getting a free read.
Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, you see where I have Saquon ranked. So
I mean, give it a week's time, and Nico's going to go from 12th overall to like 7th overall in your rankings, and we're not going to be having the combo.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a fair point. The other thing though is Reed has been a little up and down lately. So is he more a wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1, like we were originally thinking? And does a wide receiver 2 kind of move the needle enough to go from an elite RB1 to again an elite wide receiver 1 for sure? But yeah, I think it's a close enough conversation, but I kind of also lean with the Nico Collins and Jaden Reed side, especially if you have running back depth.
I mean, I'd be a fraud if I picked against anybody but Nico, considering my background right now.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at his team. He has Breece Hall already. So, dude, having Breece and Saquon is like that's hard to move off of, man. Those two guys are just absolute stars. Tracy Ramon, like you're gonna be starting Tracy Ramondre most weeks. AJ Brown. You also have 2 Eagles.
He could use receivers, man. He could use
Debo, Godwin. You lost. Yeah, I think you could use those receivers as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just never saying no to Nico. That's pretty much where I'm
at. Dr. Lufa in here. Interesting name. Very loaded starting lineup's insane here. So Malik Neighbors versus Achane.
It's Neighbors, but like
it's not Neighbors for me.
I mean, I'm starting Neighbors over Tyreek Hill. If the decider is you want to play one Dolphin and Neighbors, I would rather do that than start 2 Dolphins here.
Yeah, I guess you got
Neighbors would be my one of those 3.
Yeah, if you wanted to tie, I would lean with what you just said, where I would take Tyreek out and put Neighbors in. I would rather start Achane than Tyreek, to be honest. If I'm choosing one Dolphins player to start,
then let's do that. I'm perfectly fine doing that.
Like I have Achane as my RB4 this week. The Buffalo Bills are allowing the most targets in the league to the running back position. Like Achane could catch 5 or 6 passes in this game, no problem. And he also had a monster game against them back in week 2. And Tua missed half that game with the concussion. So yeah, I feel really good about Achane this week.
You won't have me going against Achane either. I have him in so many spots this week.
Yeah. Shady's up next here. We got
shout out Shady. He's in the listener league.
Flex decisions here. I'm throwing TJ in this week, and I don't think there's gonna be any limitations.
So I actually have him and Kraft back to back. Funny enough, I agree with you. See, Kraft,
given the weather concern for the Packers game, I moved Kraft down to 15, and I have Hawkinson at 10.
So I had Hawkinson at 9 and Kraft at 10 anyway. So I would go that. I would actually I'd start Hawkinson over Laporta as well, for the record.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of conservatively ranking Hawkinson at 10 because I think it wouldn't shock me one bit if after this week we're like, oh, so he's just like a top 3 tight end rest of season. Like, would that shock you at all if 1 week from now we're all just like, oh yeah, like Hawkinson's just an elite tight end now?
Side note, Bush, have you seen how fucking banged up my team is in no flocking?
No, but my team's actually kind of starting to peak at the right time.
Bro, so for the record, the fact that your team is 3-5, like, but I don't know how you didn't buy some pieces too, because like you should, like, based off the players that you have on your team, you should be 6-2 right now, 7-1.
Yeah, well, I had Nico go down. I was about to buy players, and then Nico went down. So I was like, like it seems a little bit forced if I do that. Jonathan Brooks still wasn't back yet. Nick Chubb still wasn't back yet. Chase Brown hadn't really taken over the starting job.
Hear me
but
out
now
though,
I'm
Bush.
like kind of peaking at the right time, and you don't want to. If I sneak into a 6 seed, you don't want to see me in the playoffs.
Hear me out though, Bush. If I was in your position, I would have gotten aggressive earlier, because when I contextualize this, my team is missing without McCaffrey, Godwin, Shaheed, Hollywood Brown. Like, dude, my team is fucking decimated. Debo's on bye. Like, my team is decimated right now. And I'm playing Brock this week, who's tanking. And if I win, I would become 6-3.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Like,
also, I just had to take B-Rob out of my starting lineup in Devi Disciples. Who would you go with? And I kind of have a clear answer for me, just because I want to do it for the meme. Would you start Jalen Tolbert in the flex, Jalen Coker, or Taysom Hill?
I mean, you know who I have the highest there.
Yeah, my third answer would be Tolbert. So that's definitely not Tolbert for me.
That's insane, dude.
I do actually have Prescott in this league, so maybe it would make sense to start Tolbert.
Tolbert in that game environment, and he's your third
option. I think
option.
Coker's going to cook, man. I want Coker.
That's fine. Third option after Taysom is absurd. You would start Taysom over Jalen.
It's a tight end premium.
Fair. I have Jalen Tolbert in my top 35 receivers this week, dude. It's the highest pace game.
It's tight end premium, like I said. That's why it would be a different.
I get that. It's the highest pace game, highest over/under game of the slate, dude.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. You're right.
You just casually throw in, Tolbert's the third of that group for me. What?
It's not that I don't like Tolbert. Dude, this is a Taysom Hill game, bro. If I've ever seen a Taysom Hill game, you guys want to bet today? Fucking Taysom Hill anytime touchdown is the biggest lock of my lifetime. I swear to God, he's scoring.
And Tolbert can't score a touchdown.
Yeah, he could. I'm telling you right now, Taysom is scoring today. He's going to snipe a goal line touchdown from Alvin Kamara. I will bet my life on it.
Are we gonna have to make a bet full PPR fucking Taysom versus Tolbert, or what's going on here?
Tight end premium, 1.5 tight end premium.
Sure, we'll do that then.
Let's do it. I'm going to have to, somebody asked about this in the chat too. They said we're going to need to see an update on these bets, and I will have to go through.
Dude, have we even been making a few in the last few weeks, dude? We gotta start making more. Fuck.
Okay, Taysom.
And by the way, you guys are wondering what the score. I don't even know what the score is, and I'm making them with Corey. He just
I have no idea what the score is either. I have them all written in my notebook so I can go back and tally them up, but I actually don't know what the score is either.
That's fair. By the way, side note, again, knock on wood, I am playing Spicy this week, who's 5-3. But if I do win in the FSC Listener League, we go to 9-0.
Wow. Yeah, my team is actually looking a lot better in that league for the future, but I can't win this year. Okay, so flex decision in this question here. We got Hawkinson in the tight end spot. Jaden Reed, definitely a lock to be in your flex here, I would imagine. And then the next option, I guess, would be like Nico and Brooks aren't playing, Jennings on bye, would be Tillman, McConkey, Ramondre Stevenson. I think I go Ladd there.
Yeah, I didn't see McConkey at first. That's my
I think I go Ladd with those options there.
Yeah. No, I would definitely go Ladd, though. I still also have Tillman in my top 30 because of the volume he's been seeing. But credit to Ladd. And I actually brought up this stat in the wide receiver video. So, you know what the LA Chargers this year, before the bye week, how many games do you think they had of 30-plus pass attempts?
Probably like 0.
0. Since the bye week, how many have they failed to cross 30-plus pass attempts?
I think they've been throwing a lot more lately, so I'd imagine they've thrown every game over 30 pass attempts since their bye week.
0. So when we're looking at it, after their bye week, a team that hadn't thrown over 30 times all year has failed to not crack you know what I'm trying to say. Hasn't not cracked 30 since the bye week. Sorry.
Took there you go. You got there.
A second. Yeah, we got there.
You got there.
I really do think like these Chargers players, like, I mean, like we were kind of joking about Josh Palmer this morning. It's like, is he a great asset? No. But like, if you told me these next couple of weeks, like he's actually been scaling up since the bye, and if they start throwing the ball more, like I think Ladd can be a wide receiver too. And Palmer, again, he's not going to be a crazy fucking piece, but like, could he be like a wide receiver 45 if they're throwing the ball more?
Yeah, he could absolutely be that, I think.
Yeah, he's healthy too, which is another thing. Maybe that's part of the reason why they weren't throwing the ball in the first few games, is that Quentin Johnson wasn't good enough to support a 30+ pass attempt offense as a starter.
Well, QJ's back this week, right? Or was he back last week too?
He was either back last week or the week before, but like his playing time, A, has gotten cut, and B, he's just played much worse as well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I think that it's possible that Quentin Johnson still like starts to get back into playing time, because he was actually playing pretty well before he got injured.
No, that's a fair point.
Okay,
by the way,
so Shady appreciate the question. Jesus. Snubs next up here, tight end decision, Sam Laporta versus Dalton Kincaid. I mean, this would have been Laporta before, but it's a little closer now that Amari Cooper is out for the game. I think Kincaid, like, quietly actually leads the team in targets per route run. He's just not that good with his targets.
Dude, he targets what? He's Zach Ertz. Is that what he is? Like late career Zach Ertz? That's what he is right now.
There's no difference between him and Zach Ertz types, or Dalton Schultz types, or Cole Kmet even type. Like he's just,
let me ask you this
type of guy.
If I gave you two stat lines, guess which one's Dalton Kincaid and guess which one's Zach Ertz this year? 32 catches on 45 targets for 345 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown versus 28 catches on 44 targets for 300 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns.
I think Kincaid has the 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, he's getting out-targeted and out-yardaged by Zach Ertz this year. My English is struggling this slate.
That's wild, though, that Kincaid is producing as a late career Zach Ertz. That is not great. If you spent I really half expected coming into the year that the answer to Kyle Pitts versus Dalton Kincaid would be neither. Like, they were both going to just be terrible. About 3-4 weeks into the season, but Pitts looks a lot better than Kincaid. Let's just put it that way.
You know how excited I am. Hopefully he keeps I mean, maybe not too much today, just in case, you know what I'm saying? Need the Cowboys defense to show up, but if we're going to get killed by somebody on that team, please let it be Pitts and not London, considering Sal has London.
I have London in my home league, so hopefully it is London.
Also, one more thing real quick. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Dude, so I put you remember when I picked up Jameis? So I had a waiver claim in for $1, Jameis to drop for Kirk Cousins. And Mason had higher priority and drops fucking Caleb Williams for Kirk Cousins. He drops Caleb Williams when he already had Brock Purdy. He's on bye week this week, I get it. But he already has Brock Purdy. So now you drop Caleb, who was your quarterback upside, and now you have Kirk Cousins and Brock Purdy, who are literally the Spider-Man meme rest of the season.
I guess, but Kirk Cousins, if you're looking for a play this week, like Caleb Williams will be on waiver wire in the future. And in our league, Kirk is a better play than Caleb this week, objectively.
I'm telling you right now, if when he clears waivers on Monday, I'm picking him up. Like,
go
straight
nuts.
up.
What was I?
I just found that weird because it's like I expected to get Kirk Cousins because also it was the perfect play. I have literally Kyle Pitts. I have the run back with Jalen Tolbert and freaking Brandon Aubrey, and he has Drake London. And now that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no, you should have bid more than $1.
I didn't think anybody else would bid any money.
That happened to me with Coker. I put $4 in on Coker, and Sal beat me out on waiver priority. Also, if people are looking for an interesting bet today, Kyle Pitts in 5 straight games has gone over his receiving yardage total. So if you guys are looking for a good prop bet
or the higher if you're playing on underdog.
Yes, or the higher if you're playing on underdog here. What do you like, Tracy or Waddle in this back half of this question?
Tracy.
Yeah, I also prefer Tracy. For me, with Waddle, I just kind of need to see it first. I know that's like a stupid attitude to have, but like he's been so bad for like 5 straight games that I kind of just need to see him have a good game.
No, there's definitely emotions tied to it. Again, people try to say, "Oh, play fantasy without emotions." It's impossible to, man. At the end of the day, like we can do all this research that says, "Yeah, X player is a great play to bounce back this week." You got to put that guy in your lineup sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you have to make that decision, and like. Typically speaking, if a guy's been underperforming, look at Calvin Ridley, for example. We could have said every week, the process is this, like process-wise, he's earning this volume, this and that. It's like, okay, that's resulted in 2 good fucking fantasy days if you started him every single week in your lineup.
Well, you know, he's only been on my roster for 1 week, so he just needed better coaching.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as he doesn't see Danny Ladd 21 on the schedule, he's going back to being lazy Ridley.
I'm gonna make a bold take right now, but Zach's going down this week. I'm gonna beat him. I'm calling it right now. I got a nice start. Tank Dell had a good game. Kaimi Fairbairn could have had a monster day. Had a pretty decent game as well. He's going down this week. I'm calling it.
I refuse to comment.
I'm calling it. If he goes down, you know who also is the CEO of Fantasyland?
FSE.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that is comedy that I'm his. He's probably so upset that I'm his only loss of the year. It's like he would have rather lost to probably anybody else in the league, but the fact that the only loss he has is to fucking me is like probably weighing on his brain. Like,
yeah,
of course.
I recorded to channel the last time Zach lost. I recorded a clip in my t-shirt, and it's freezing outside right now. And I was like, the last time Zach lost, I was able to wear a t-shirt in Canada outside. So we're going to do that, even though it's like literally freezing out, to channel that win. I'm telling you right now, he's going down.
I respect it. Also, shout out. I know if Scotty's in here, I do play Mr. Karma Chameleon in the Tone Setter Truthers League. He's 5-3. I'm 5-3. We're both fighting right now. I probably not to toot my own horn. I probably have one of the best 5-3 teams you've ever seen. Like I have the most points in the league, and I've lost 3 games in this league.
Is this Tone Setters you're talking about?
I lost to J Metal, bro.
Yeah, that's bad. Also, you only have like 13 more points than me, or 16 more points than me. It is crazy though. If you look at our points against, you have 1234 and I have 985.
How do I have 300 more points?
That's crazy.
Doc has more than me, bro. He has 1237.
That's crazy. Anyways, this question here from San Fran 49ers fan: do I need RB1
right side very easily?
Yeah, this is definitely the right side. I'm just looking at his team really quick just to see if there's any context I can get from it. I mean, Pacheco, you can't really count on at this point. Achan's your lead back. Ramondre and Najee are okay. Yeah, your receivers are mentally ill, bro. Like London versus Tyreek, you could see it's not a huge difference for me rest of season. And Mixon versus Chubb is definitely a pretty big difference. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the right side of this deal, like Danny said.
Just casually scroll over. He's got 4 of my like top 8 wide receivers this week.
Yeah, no kidding. Another question from Blau here. Shout out. We might have to fire you up, Voucher, because I've noticed you have asked a lot of questions. Yeah. This is an interesting question here. Patrick Mahomes versus Drake May. Now, face value, I think Mahomes is the easy answer, but there is expected to be weather conditions in that game, and Drake May. I think I'd still go Mahomes because when you stack up like the implied totals, over-unders, game environment, the fact that the Chiefs are at home, they're favored by like 8.5 points. The Sharps are actually hammering the Titans in that Patriots Titans game. The Patriots are on the road. Drake May's coming off the concussion. I think you go Mahomes, but it's actually a little closer because of the weather concerns for me.
The Sharps have been fading Drake May all year. Now, for what it's worth, I would also go with Mahomes because, I mean, th're still implied for like 27 points. And even if it's raining, dude, like they're a very short area offense anyways, where like Kelsey, Hopkins, honestly, all the weather does is concern me for Worthy that I have him in a couple of leagues on Monday Night Football, because if it's raining, maybe we don't see the deep portion of this offense really unlocked. But I mean, in terms of Mahomes, Kelsey, DeAndre Hopkins as well, like they should get peppered in this game if it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. Tucker Kraft is an easy pick there for the tight end because you didn't actually give us another option. Looks like he's got Kareem Hunt in his one flex spot. The other options, I guess, here, Rico Dowdle, Cedric Tillman, Dontavian Wicks, you're probably not considering. Nico, oh, that sucks. Chris Godwin, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, all out here. That definitely hurts you a little bit. Your team would be absolutely loaded in that case. But who you going here? This is Tillman between Dowdle and Tillman for sure. I think I go Dowdle because Zeke is out for this game, and I don't really trust that Dalvin Cook is going to get like a huge workload, and I don't love the matchup for Tillman, but it's difficult here.
That is very close. That's my RB 24 this week versus my wide receiver 30, I believe. So again, full PPR, start 8. You do have London, so maybe like the tiebreaker would be you get the bring back with Dowdle if that game shoots out.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the game environment a lot more in general in that game too. Like, even if Dowdle is like inefficient against a good run defense, he could punch in a touchdown just given the scoring environment of that game. I do also think, though, if you guys are betting an over-under or a spread, I think the lock of the week is the Chargers-Browns to go over 42.5 points.
That's a really good line.
I really think that's going over, to be honest. The other one that I would say is a really good lock is Chicago and Arizona to go under 45 points. I don't think that game is going to be very high scoring, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
which sucks because I'm starting Kyler Murray over Jordan Love, but that's the only reason I'm doing that is because Jordan Love is coming in with an injury and there's weather concerns in that game. Otherwise, I would have went with Jordan Love.
That's your home league?
Yeah.
Also, big shout out. I just ended up looking at, my Flock Me Silly team.
Yep.
Why does my lineup actually look semi-decent and I completely punted my fucking team? My lineup this week looks semi-decent.
So you got Josh Allen, Tyrone Tracy, Bucky Irving, Demario Douglas, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Coker, Kyle Pitts, Puka Nacua, Taysom Hill, Kyler Murray. Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup.
Dude, and I also have 3 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders. So
my quarterback situation is just so bad in this league, but the rest of my team is goated.
Hey, you want Jameis Winston?
I actually wouldn't even say no to that.
I mean, I'll take a 2 for him.
He's not worth a 2. Get out of here.
He could start for the Browns moving forward, and that 2 would be fucking value.
Yeah, but like, is it worth giving up a 2 when I have I know this sounds disgusting, but I have Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and Will Levis to cycle through.
I think Winston would be your quarterback one right off the bat.
JJ's out, right? And JJ is my second best quarterback asset behind Lawrence. So,
well, I mean, you're competing with most points for. Like, dude, you telling me you wouldn't give the 212 for Jameis Winston, who's going to be a mid-range quarterback to the rest of the season?
No, I wouldn't.
Fair enough, then. I'll hold them.
3s.
No, come on.
I'd give you a player that's equivalent to like a 2-3 turn pick.
Depends who that is. We could talk off stream then.
Yeah. Also, Jared's telling me to start Love. Why is that so big? Jared's telling me to start Love.
Wait. That was massive.
Yeah, I don't know why that's doing that.
We must have changed it again. We must have changed the layout. Yeah, there it is. It's definitely in the back end, right?
Yeah, I just fixed it. But I don't know, dude. Jordan Love, again, knowing that it's a weather game and that he's coming off of an injury, to me, just Kyler just screams as the better option, especially when I'm kind of down right now in my matchup, and the higher ceiling play is always the Russian quarterback. So
I got a gross question for you, by the way. Are you starting Nick Chubb or Alexander Madison this week?
I would start Madison with Jerome Ford coming back.
I have Madison in, and I thought I was gross for doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Chubb is a decent play, but I just want to see what his workload looks like with Ford back in the lineup before I put him in there, if I can.
I have a big shootout this week against fucking Devo. He got 30 from Garrett Wilson, so we're both 5-3 in the flocked up league.
Oh, the flock league, a trade just went down.
Probably, yeah, I figured.
You're getting a live reaction right now. Oh shit! Mason sent Sal.
Oh, so Mason just fleeced Sal.
What's up?
Mason just fleeced Sal.
He did. Okay, Ladd McConkey, Austin Eckler, Javonte Williams, and $20 in Fab for DK Metcalf, Najee Harris. So, yeah, I mean, he kind of need Danny to fall this week. That's funny. I mean,
even with those guys, am I gonna fall?
I wish I would have offered him something. Damn,
dude, Javonte's a nothing in that trade.
Yeah, Javonte is completely a nothing in that trade. I offered Sal earlier in the week. I offered him Alexander Madison and Khalil Shakir for DK Metcalf, and he said he's not a huge fan of Madison. I was like, okay, well, I'd rather have Madison right now than Javonte Williams.
Nah, dude, that no bullshit. That trade, I know it's between 2 creators, and both help because Sal does need short term very much. But from a value perspective, that looks like borderline collusion. Dude, this trade is awful.
Yeah.
He gave up the 2 best players in the... Okay, sorry. 2 of the 3 best players in the deal. Let me correct. Ladd McConkey. You take over Najee. But, Ladd versus Najee's close, dude. It's a free DK.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
Sal's horrible. It's tough spot. When you're... Sal literally can't... he's done. He's cooked if he loses this week. He has absolutely no choice. That's why Austin Eckler actually has some value. He also has Brian Robinson. So if Brian Robinson's out for significant time, then he can use Eckler in the meantime. I know it sounds really bad, but to be honest, Metcalf is on bye next week as well. And Sal's going to need a win next week. He has no other choice. There's no other option for him.
Work with anybody else in the league and they'd give you a better trade than that. That was awful.
Yeah. I don't know though, because think about where Sal is at with this week on the horizon. Eckler's a top 20 play with Brian Robinson out of the lineup. Javonte Williams, I mean, he might not be very good this week, especially if Estime does get more work, which is I'm sure why you picked Estime up this morning. And McConkey's a great play this week as well. And Metcalf isn't going to play this week, and he's not going to play next week because he's on bye. So, I mean, you don't have a choice.
I play Metcalf on bye next week.
He got top 24 wide receiver value this week and top 20 running back value this week, who also happens to be the handcuff to his running back.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I don't think it's that bad, to be honest. I would rather Mason's side in a vacuum in 2 weeks from now.
How is Javonte projected 12 when it's already been reported he's going to get his workload cut?
I don't know. He also got 20 fab, and Sal has like no fab left. So
I guess. I don't know. I mean, fair enough. It makes my week a little bit more challenging this week, but then I also play Mason next week with DK on bye.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
I mean, I'll take it.
I play Sal in week 12, I think it is. And he has his whole team on bye. Like Josh Allen is on bye, and so is Amari Cooper and like a bunch of his other players. Like I'm going to destroy him in week 12. That's why if I can win this week, it's going to be so crucial for my playoff chances because Nathan has a bunch of players on bye next week, and then Sal has a bunch of players on bye in week 12. And I think I play somebody easy in week 11 too.
Let's get it, by the way, Robert. Appreciate you.
Team Danny and Team Zach. Hey, don't count out the Cinderella story. I got a chance to make the playoffs here.
God.
Anyways, next up we got Andy T here. Rico Dowdle, Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going Ramondre over Rico this week for sure.
Wait, what?
Ramondre over Rico for sure.
I have Rico higher than Ramondre easily.
Ramondre was like literally a top 5 running back last week.
I get that. Rico's in a smash game environment. There's no Ezekiel Elliott active, and the Cowboys are implied for 24.5 points.
It's not a smash game environment when the Falcons are a pass funnel, though. It's
sure, but there's going to be points in this game.
Wrong. I like Rico this week, but I think Stevenson's a better play.
I mean, they're close. I would personally go Rico, but maybe fucking you want to see one more
the flex decision. We might get Rico in anyways. Like I would play Ferguson at tight end here, and you can just throw Rico into the flex anyways.
Oh, that was an easy solution. So we just
it is an easy solution, and they both play at 1, so I don't think it matters which one you're playing here. So yeah, easy solution there. I would. We could do Rico versus Ramondre if you want.
Sure. What, full PPR?
Sure. Okay, so you're taking.
I mean, it's not like full
Cowboys players on your bets so far.
Fuck it, let's go, buddy. I love that game environment.
And neither of which are CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and Prescott. So I'm sure that'll work out for you.
Have I showed you this, by the way? Randomly, like I went through my message requests and I just got a random message, brother. You had to talk. You had to brag about being number 1 in the league, and now we're both out Rasheed and Nico. I got a DM about that. Like, okay.
That's funny.
I got yelled at for
that's just you're just looking to place blame on somebody at that point.
I was fucking dying. I'm like, okay, buddy, let's settle down.
This one's easily Laporta in Andy's second question here over Kraft. Waddle, Worthy, Kraft. There's nobody else really in contention here. Definitely
Waddle and Worthy.
Sure. Debo's on bye. And then Worthy versus Kraft. I mean, it sucks that the weather's going to be bad, but hopefully it clears up in time for games.
Bad weather in both games, no?
Trust me, there is bad weather in both games. And the Bucks, I'm telling you right now, there's a quarter of sunlight in this game. Worthy's catching a bomb. Like
I hope so. I have him in my home league and in our league. Yeah, got you.
Worthy is catching a bomb. He also has Mahomes, which is a good tiebreaker here. So that's the direction I would go with on your second question.
So I mean, let me just talk one more time on the deal. Again, context wise, 3 and 5. If you follow 3 and 6, DK Metcalf bye. Like I get it. Like obviously that was just my reaction at the time, but like I understand the rationale both ways. However, when I am looking at like, couldn't Zach make a better offer than that? Like
Zach definitely could have, yeah.
Like
I mean, Sal said all week, like, I need a win this week. If you guys want Metcalf, come get him. So it's not like any of us have anything to bitch about.
I mean, fair, yeah. Like, I mean, Mason has the luxury of facing off against Joe this week, so he can afford to punt a couple.
I think Joe's gonna beat him now.
I hope so, bro.
I think Joe's gonna, dude. If he loses to Joe, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
I mean, his lineup's still pretty decent this week, even without like dude, like with Ladd and all those like the guys that he gave, like he's still fielding a pretty decent lineup this week, Mason. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah. But anyways, we can move off of Andy's question. We did have a couple more come in, so I'll refresh after this is done here. Napacorn, Tony Pollard versus Montgomery, easily Montgomery, especially with Pollard coming in really banged up.
He's banged up.
Yeah,
So
where do you have Pollard ranked, dude?
I got a lower Pollard than I had him at 15.
You have to lower him because he didn't practice all week, not a single practice.
Okay, so
he's going to be limited in some capacity. I can't imagine that I had him when I did the running back rankings video, I had him at 23, I think it was, and I moved him down. I think I have him like 29, 30, something like that. Like in the Ramondre Stevenson, Rico Dowdle, Rashad White area is where I
moved him down to 27. Because
Yeah,
there is no Spears either. Like, is Chestnut going to get the ball?
Yeah, I think he will. Not like a lot, but I have Chestnut ranked in my top 40 running backs.
Fair enough. I mean, like, he's not going to make any of my lineups, but I was thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I don't think Pollard's going to carry a whole big workload. And I think that's why I like. I think Ridley's going to have a good week this week because I think they're going to have to pass.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Sorry, I just want to see Chestnut.
Also, quickly, just shout out to Corey Van, member for 31 months. That's a long time. He said, is Troutman worth a start over Theo Johnson? This is a disgusting question.
I would say so. He got some decent usage last week.
He has gotten some decent usage, and I actually have to start him. I don't know if you noticed this. I have to start him in our Tone Setter League. I picked him up off of our Dynasty waiver wire because I have Kittle on bye, and he's like my only rosterable tight end who's functional right now. So, yes, I would start Troutman over Theo Johnson. That's pretty tough that you're in that spot. And also, he gifted a membership. So, shout out to Corey.
Hey, shout out Corey. Appreciate you, brother.
So
okay, question I got for you. Are you going Charbonnet or are you going Chestnut in the lineup?
I'd go Charbonnet still, given the game environment there.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I actually had to make that decision in my Box Munchers League. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with that name, Box Munchers, funny. But that lineup is Prescott, Achane, Tracy, JSN, Jefferson, Wilson already played. I have Njoku at tight end, and then my flexes are currently Charbonnet and Dowdle. So you just keep going Charbonnet and Dowdle there?
Yeah, I would go Charbs just because, obviously this doesn't really factor into your decision that much, but if Kenneth Walker gets banged up in a game, you got to figure that Charbonnet is going to have a monster performance, right? And that's not really something that you should start a player based on, but at the same time, it's factoring into, if you have a flex decision, you got to throw somebody in there as a desperation flex. Charbonnet is the type of guy that can get there if Walker misses any time during the game.
You ready for an even grosser decision?
What?
Mike Gesicki or Julius Chestnut in a full PPR flex?
Very easily Gesicki, dude.
So funny because this is in our listener league. I picked up Gesicki to throw into our flex spot, my flex spot this week.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty solid play with Higgins out for sure.
Because you're mentioning Sal's injuries, I had B-Rob, Metcalf, and Nico all be out this week. So
yeah, I have a lot of injuries in our listener league as well. I think, let me look at my bench. I have Jameson Williams still suspended. Mike Evans is out. T. Higgins is out as well. So I'm down a little bit bad. But my team is so deep that my flexes, instead of being Mike Evans and T. Higgins, who my flexes would be right now, if it wasn't for that, I have Bucky Irving and Chase Brown. My team is just that good.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, let's get back. Let's get through as many of these as we can and try to see if we can get to the free question.
Yeah, Pollard. Sorry, not Pollard. Pollard's not in this decision for me, clearly. I think it's B-Tom versus Josh Downs. And honestly, I would rather start Downs given the injury to Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, that's the safer pick if you want to be I technically have B-Tom one spot higher, but if you're worried about the status of his chest, Downs in a spot. Sorry. Downs in a smash spot.
He is. Yeah, I have Downs at 20 and I have Thomas at 22. So I actually do have Downs ranked higher.
Yeah, no, I think that is a good point.
Yeah. Also, we haven't shouted it out yet, but if you guys are wondering how to get our rankings, it's linked down below in the description. You can get them on flockfantasy.com, rest of seasons, dynasty, weekly rankings. And we also have our weekly rankings manifesto over there, which we update multiple times a week. And our rankings are up to date as of 10, 20, 30 minutes ago when inactives came out. Or I guess it was an hour ago that they came out. But yeah, if you guys do want to get our rankings and skip the whole process of trying to get your question answered, that is how you can do that. You can get them for free when you sign up over on Underdog using promo code FSE, make a play, make a deposit, and you'll get them for free, or you can get them on Flock Fantasy, like I said. So moving on to the next.
Let me point one thing. Sorry, I just see Zach. I don't disagree. I think Brian Thomas should be ready to go, and he shouldn't have setbacks. That's more pro Downs, to be honest. I think Downs in a smash spot. I've talked about actually on the channel. I think Pittman's back is freaking cooked. And Josh Downs in 4 of his last 5 games has been a top 20 fantasy receiver. So again, I love BTJ as well, but it's more so just pro Downs and knowing he's not coming in with any injury limitations.
Also, speaking of Michael Pittman's back being cooked, and a guy who we've seen underlying metrics be very good for when he's been on the field. Adonai Mitchell needs to be rostered in every single league because we don't know. He hasn't surpassed Alec Pierce on the depth chart yet, which I don't know will ever happen because it might be just Pierce's role to stretch the field. And they don't really think AD Mitchell can maybe do that role. But if Pittman re-aggravates his back injury, AD Mitchell will be the best waiver ad of any wide receiver this year, in my opinion, because Flacco and AD Mitchell can make some absolute magic together, in my opinion. So with Downs, I mean, he's obviously great this year. He's got a 30% target share on the season, but AD Mitchell is definitely a guy that if he's on your waivers right now and you just have like some random Joe Schmo on your bench that's not really
like Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, like go pick up AD Mitchell and just stash him and see what happens. Because if Pittman re-aggravates that back injury, he's going to be a huge waiver ad.
It's funny that you just mentioned that because I was reading through my flock team and I saw Kayshon Boutte and I'm like, when am I ever going to play him? And plus, I can
AD Mitchell available in our flock league?
Yeah, I just picked him up.
Wow. Okay. Didn't think he was available. Otherwise, I may have rostered him.
Yep. I mean, I'm just actually scanning my leagues right now. Yeah, Rob has him in the listener league.
He's available in my home league. I'm gonna go pick him up. I'm not gonna say shit that I wouldn't do myself. So I'm gonna literally go practice what I preach. Would you drop? I think I'm gonna have to drop Tucker Kraft. Is that nuts if I drop him?
Well, it's funny because I would actually have to make that the exact same decision in my home league, and I don't think I can do it because like I have David Njoku as my starting tight end, and I have Kraft on my bench. Bro, you want to hear what my bench is at wide receiver right now? Like I can't drop a receiver. McMillan, Pickens, Parker Washington, DeMario Douglas.
Yeah. So I could drop Ray Davis instead of Tucker Kraft, which is probably what I imagine most people would do. The reason I say, should I drop Tucker Kraft? This is why, because David Njoku and Tucker Kraft are both on bye next week. So I'm going to have to pick up a tight end anyways.
Oh, got you. Okay. I mean, if that's the case, I'm going to have to do that in my home league
exactly.
too.
So that's why I'm like, you know what? I might just have to drop Kraft this week, which is really shit because he's literally like tight. You know, I'm not going to drop him because I think I can trade him potentially. So I'm going to drop Ray Davis for AD Mitchell.
Like, bro, I'm gonna keep it a stack. If I have to, like if Parker Washington has a bad game and I have to, I'd rather roster 2 bye week tight ends and stream one for a week.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, it just sucks in my league, dude. I have 2. Njoku and Kraft is a sick duo, and nobody is biting the trade.
Just like have the same buy because if they didn't, it would be perfect.
Well, like, dude, nobody wants to fucking trade for a tight end in my league, dude. Everybody's fine with theirs.
Everyone's fine. Everyone's got like if you have like a
Cole Kmet, you're fine.
Cole Kmet or better, you're fine at tight end. In a 12-man league, everybody has a tight end as good as that.
Yeah.
And with Hawkinson coming back now too, that throws another tight end into the mix that people are going to be fine rostering. Anyways, Maple Serple, Travis Etienne, Bucky Irving, Rico. You have Rico the highest here?
I was just making a joke about shout out Canada with the Maple Serple, but Rico is my highest. Yeah.
I have Bucky the highest. This is obviously a bias versus bias discussion right here, but I don't know. I like the game environment to be a run.
Tucker and White are playing, no?
They are, but the Buccaneers lead
out.
all teams in fantasy running back usage over the last 4 games. Like they're just using the guys like crazy.
Trust me, I get it. Against the Chiefs versus against the Falcons. Rico to the backfield to himself.
Good run defenses, to be honest.
Over under Dalvin Cook 7.5 touches this week because I'm very much.
I think he'll get more than that.
I think it's the under, dude. I think it's gonna be Rico's backfield.
I'll capitulate to Rico. I would prefer Bucky, but it's not a huge discussion. I'm not going to make a stink about it. This is very easily Romeo Doubs for me in this other question. Keon Coleman becomes closer now that Cooper is out, but I love Romeo Doubs this week.
I love Romeo Doubs this week, but I actually do have Coleman higher. Now, because you capitulated from Irving to Dowdle, I'll capitulate for Doubs. I think that's fine. But, dude, Keon Coleman in the last 2 weeks has been so good. And now
I actually might capitulate back to Keon Coleman because I'm thinking of Doubs prior to the weather concerns.
Oh, fair.
So maybe you go Coleman for that reason, but I do have Doubs ranked higher at the moment.
It also sucks that you have to sit Otten too.
Yeah, Otten is also a great play too. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he
shout out a guy that probably if your league mate has Cade Otten, he's not trading for a tight end. Like
no, exactly. Like there's so many guys like this in fantasy right now. Okay, so that is the end of these questions.
Jared, I hope you
guys can see the top 10 supporters here. You can see some of them here. Let me just refresh here and go back in to make sure we got all the questions that we got to here. Let me go settings and get the team reviews off of there. Also, if you guys sent us a team review and you're waiting to hear back, make sure to check your DMs from us because a couple of you guys had teams where we weren't able to see them and we sent you back DMs saying, we'll get you a voucher if you can resubmit, and so on and so forth. I noticed that was it I can't remember what his name was, but the one guy that you're going to do the review for, he submitted that, but we're still waiting on one person too.
Yeah. So again, we have the ability on the site where we could create a voucher. So if
I'm just going to shout out exactly who it is because that will make it easier. Where is it? Doom Guy is the one that you were talking to. Yeah. Big Pearl. If you're Big Pearl in the chat right now, that is who we're waiting on right now. If you guys, if you check your DMs, Big Pearl, you should have something from us saying, okay. Yep. You should have something from us saying that you need to resubmit.
Yep. Shout out to
all these in progresses. Anyways, key to success.
Sorry, that's just random. I just thought
Bucky or Tank Bigsby. I'm starting Bucky this week over Tank.
Yeah, I don't mind that. ETN is expected to play as well. Bigsby obviously coming in banged up. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, Bucky, for what it's worth, isn't the healthiest either, but I do prefer Bucky Irving. Like I said, the reason I'm starting both Buccaneers running backs as top 30 plays is because, first of all, they've both been top
30 and 31 for
the last 2 games.
For what it's worth, I don't disagree. I think they're 30 and 31 for me. The only difference is that I had Dowdle at 23.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I might have to move Dowdle up last minute here because I didn't really factor in that Zeke wasn't playing when I did the running back video because it hadn't come out yet.
Like, dude, I'm telling you right now, the Cowboys' best version of their offense is if Dowdle's getting the ball 15 to 20 times a game. Like, there's no reason anybody else should be touching the ball in the backfield other than maybe Hunter Lipke. He's actually decent, bro. He's a good fullback. I like him.
Yeah, I think I'll capitulate over Dowdle over Irving. So I just moved Dowdle up to 24, and I have Irving at 25. So it is pretty close, but I would prefer Dowdle as well.
I've had my coffee here the whole time. Haven't taken a sip because I forgot about it.
Classic. All right, so shout out to Key to Success. That was a pretty easy decision there. Big shout out, $25 chat here from. I'm going to let you read that name.
From Ali Big. Ali Big Larbig.
Yeah, there you go. Traded
Alibi Larbig.
There you go. There, we got it. Yeah. Alibi Glarbig. There we go. All right. Traded London plus Pollard for Saquon. That is a very easy Saquon side for me. Starting Hurts, Brees, Marvin, Neighbors, ARSB, Njoku. Thoughts on trades going into the playoffs? I think it was worth it. Yeah, I absolutely love that, knowing that you're able to pair Saquon and Brees going together now going forward, and you have St. Brown and Neighbors and Marvin, and like your team's loaded, dude. This is a mentally ill team.
Dude, I feel like you just love fantasy when like you get excited like hearing about how crazy some lineups are. Like, holy crap, that's insane. Sorry, I'm a nerd.
That's insane indeed. AJ, PPR Dynasty League, please help with my flex. Thanks, boys. Okay, so I mean, tight end, it's Laporta versus Kmet. It is definitely Laporta for me there. Flex, Darnell Mooney, Jacoby Myers, Jordan Addison. McConkey for sure is definitely one of them, and then Mooney is definitely the other one. I would say the next closest one for me is between Addison and Tillman, but I would definitely prefer Mooney over those guys.
Very comfortably Tillman over Addison. Addison has a 17% yearly target share.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been great. I just like the game environment. I think the Vikings are going to put up points in that game against Indianapolis, and Tillman's matchup is not great. That would be the discrepancy between the two of them for me.
That's fair. So we are set there. Again, appreciate AJ. If that's AJ,
Whole Milk is king. Shout out to Whole Milk.
Real quick. I'm assuming AJ Baines, right? Like he's like commenting every single one video. So shout out if that is the AJ, and if not, I mean shout out AJ regardless. But yeah. There's
I think there's one other AJ, not
Ginger Ale.
There's one other AJ that I'm aware of that I've done a consult with that it might be him.
It's crazy how AJ's name is AJ, but we just know him as Ginger Ale because like he's Ginger Ale. You know what I mean?
Ginger Ale. Also, AJ, if you're watching right now, and sorry to the Americans in advance right now, if you've never had a Canada Dry Ginger Ale, it's so much better than Schweppes. It's insane. It is like
Canada Dry is legit.
Canada Dry is significantly better Ginger Ale than Schweppes. So you could say what you want about Canada. Canada's this, Canada's that. Our Ginger Ale kicks the shit out of yours. That's not debatable.
Of course, old man Corey's arguing about the ginger ales of countries.
You got it. You have to argue about the ginger ales. Man.
I love it. Who are two running backs before I actually make this answer? Because, okay, all right. So we'll go back to the flex.
Yeah. So Tracy versus Brian Thomas. I'd go Tracy, man. I think Tracy's just such a good play this week, and I'm worried a little bit about B Tom. If you don't want to be the guy that sat Brian Thomas, I get it, and he's a good play still, but I'm playing Tracy here.
Dude, these two are my fucking guys. Like, they're my guys. Like, I had Tyron Tracy ahead of every other fantasy football analyst in the offseason. I feel great about that. But I also had Brian Thomas as my wide receiver 4. So it's like,
yeah, I don't think that was a unique take, to be honest. Most people.
No, I know. Tracy, though, I fought for that kid, and now I'm glad to see he's playing as well as he did, as he is. I wish I had him higher too. I had him at 7. I thought I was like going out on a limb. Like,
well, you definitely were. I was looking back. I was like, where did I have Coker ranked? Because I thought I was going out on a limb. I had him at 13 though. I had him just behind Polk and McMillan. Yeah. I had him higher than Pearsall, who went in the first round.
Well, dude, you had him at 13, and I was like pretty high on him. I had him at 18. Like, nobody else was talking about him as a top 20 receiver but us.
Yeah. No, I thought for some reason I thought he was inside my top 10. I was like, did I have him inside my top 10? I was like, no, I had 11. Who was 11 for me? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Polk or McMillan.
Yeah, Polk, McMillan were 11, 12. And then I think
Franklin was up there.
Mitchell. I think I had Mitchell 10.
Franklin, Mitchell, Leggett were the who else would have been in that range? Coleman. There's another receiver.
McConkey.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then obviously like the top 4.
Yeah, McConkey, Thomas, and Worthy were 4 through 6 for us. I had Worthy,
Franklin
McConkey,
at 7.
Thomas. You had Thomas, McConkey, Worthy, I think is how you had him, right?
Yeah, I had Franklin at 10 or 11, and you had him at 7. I know that. I had Leggett at 8. You had him at 9. You had Mitchell at
8.
Coleman at 8.
Okay. Yeah, and then I had
regardless, yeah.
I might have moved Franklin down to 10 after all the bullshit happened. I can't remember exactly what happened, but yeah. Coker, the fact that Coker was even in that conversation, I had Coker over Jermaine Burton. I had him over all the guys that people like. Ricky Pearsall, I had him over. I had him over Malachi Corley. I had him over a bunch of guys that went like the day 1 or day 2 of the draft.
I'm glad that, again, I don't want to sound like a hater. I hope this young kid like ends up developing into a good NFL wide receiver. But so far from what we've seen, man, us being anti-Corley has aged pretty fucking well, because that guy doesn't look like he knows what he's fucking doing on a football field right now.
Also, my knucklehead radar is pretty strong. I was like, Jermaine Burton is a fucking head case, dude. Like, I don't give a shit if he's talented at all. I had him as like a wide receiver.
Did you see how he showed up to the game today? Knowing he'd be inactive, did you see how he showed up to the game?
What happened?
Oh, biggest knucklehead. So let me see if I can find. I might have sent it into our group chat. I can't remember. No, I didn't. So he showed up into the game with like literally in like PJs and a sweater.
Bro, the second he popped a Tennessee fan, like we should have all known this guy was a moron.
Let me see if I can find it. Dude, look at the fit that he was wearing today, and like his overall just like the way he's acting is just so nonchalant. Like, here again, like maybe I'm reading too much into this, but like, dude.
Yeah, bro, the knucklehead radar needs to be very strong, and we need to be more strict with it in the draft process, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, let me see if I can find it here. Let me close.
Think about if you thought the player didn't have it above the shoulders, how many players would that save you from drafting?
No, for sure.
Think about it.
Oh, here.
Like, people had it. The worry about it was Zach Wilson. Nobody would have drafted Zach Wilson if you thought that.
Bro, peep this real quick. Sorry. Like, does that look like a guy that thinks he's gonna play?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to overlook into it because obviously it's a young guy, but like,
I'm sorry, like, more power to you, Jermaine Burton, but like, get your shit together, bro. You're in the NFL. Like, be a professional.
Like, it's not. We're not saying you don't have talent, Jermaine, but fucking figure it out. Let's get a nice iron suit. Let's fucking wear proper pants. Let's look professional. You know what? Maybe the reason why you're inactive is because you're showing you're not a fucking professional, and the team notices it.
Yeah, and also, like, who's the guy that we've heard the most about this entire offseason in Cincinnati?
Niners. That was Jermaine Burton of the Bengals.
Yeah. Who's doing the opposite of Jermaine Burton right now? Probably in practice and in showing up professionally. Probably Andre Yoshivas, right?
Dude, is he a urine football player? Probably, but does he do the little things in practice? Yeah.
He has like a 10 RAS score, so he's not a urine football player completely.
I mean, have you seen his yards per route run and shit this year?
It's bad. It's bad, yeah.
Oh, man.
Some of these kids, man, they shoot themselves in the foot. Signup, okay, Jaden Daniels is definitely the quarterback here. You don't sit Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Baker Mayfield and Bo Nix. Bo Nix specifically, I like this week, but you do not sit Jaden Daniels. So in the flex,
you could play Bo Nix.
I don't think so. He says it's a redraft one quarterback. Okay, so let's just preface this right now. If you can start a second quarterback, the answer would be Bo Nix, but Josh Jacobs is definitely the best option of the guys that you have listed here.
Saquon Barkley?
Oh, what the hell?
What?
Why isn't Saquon listed there? Okay, well, Barkley
and Marvin
sure,
Harrison.
Marvin
Jr.
Harrison.
I mean, okay, so we'll explain it like this. Maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. If it was a mistake and you could only consider the guys, actually, we can't even.
Yeah, I can remove Saquon so we can see who he was considering. Is it going to let me remove Saquon? Guess not.
Okay,
it's just not going to let me remove the guy's name. Anyways, if you can't start Barkley or Harrison for whatever reason, the next two guys we would play would be Jacobs for sure, and then either McConkey or Connor. I would imagine are the other two guys.
I'd go McConkey in a tough matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I would. It's showing people I didn't add. Something's messed up. Okay. He said it's fucked up. Okay, here. Maybe we want to give him a voucher to resubmit.
Yeah. Give him a voucher.
Can you do it on your end actually? Because I have the stream pulled up.
Yeah. Here, let me. So
we'll fire you a voucher if you want to resubmit a question.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to worry about your question filling in, Rom. No, we got you.
But if it's the guys that you have listed, like Marvin and all these guys are not supposed to be in here, it would be Jacobs and McConkey for us. But
Signup monthly mother flocker, right?
Yeah.
All right. I fired him a voucher over. This was a trade question, or is it a start set?
It's a start set. Yeah.
Okay. Signup, I just sent you a free start set voucher, so hopefully you can get that question answered for free next week. Again, hopefully we did give you value regardless, but yeah, you'll be able to get a free one to make up for that.
Also,
apologies for
I'm a moron, by the way, Danny. I don't know if you have ever noticed this button before, but I have not.
The refresh button. They just
added
refresh
button. I did not never
seen that. They just added it.
That must be new. I have never seen that.
Oh, he must have just filled it out then. Or unless
no, this was the previous one that we said from before.
So you know what? Here, we'll just give him the free voucher anyways. Go off the decision, guys. So okay, or just fill it in.
Yeah, it was Jacobs and McConkey were the guys that we were going off.
I mean, it actually had writing at the top there. We could have seen like who he was actually considering between. We don't even know if Jacobs and McConkey are in the question. So now we can't do that. Refresh again. Refresh
Jacobs was in the question.
Refresh one more time. Refresh one more time.
All right.
Maybe it'll do it again.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Submit. I sent him a free voucher. Hopefully he's covered on that regard. But yeah, it was actually showing up for a second there.
Do you want to send him a voucher as well? The $25 question that we
got. Okay, sounds good.
Email there.
Alibi.
Yeah.
Alibi.
If you can see the email there, you can fire him a question if you want.
How do I spell this? Because I can't really see the rest. The only one showing up is Salibi.
It's just like Ali, ALIBI, and then if it's not showing up, he might not have an account made.
No, he doesn't have an account made. All good.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, by the way. If you do also have an account on the site, so if you're supporting us over on Flock Fantasy with our code, it'll be able to show up if you're a monthly flocker, monthly mother flocker, annual flocker, a mother flocker. Then at that point, when you do actually submit your vouchers, we can actually give you free vouchers every now and then. So if we notice, like, for example, you're submitting a question and, for example, he submitted $25, we'll give you a free voucher there. Or you submit a trade review and you've submitted like 3 trade reviews within a month. Like, yeah, we'll give you a free trade review or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Like we make sure you guys are rewarded. Like that's basically what it is. Like we don't mind doing a little bit extra, especially if you guys are getting value from these start sits and from these trade reviews.
Yeah, and also I believe before when you sign up annually, the only reward you would get was that you get a free team review, which is obviously a great reward because you save quite a bit and you save 6 months for signing up annually. But I believe Mason and the devs are also giving out vouchers for annual subs for free start sit question, a free trade question, and a free like super chat as well. So in addition to the free team review, you'd also get, I believe, a couple or maybe one free voucher for a start sit during a live stream as well. And I noticed during the stream, actually, somebody signed up for an annual. So I want to shout out Goodell the God, also an elite name there. So
Roger.
And maybe I'm going to just skim through the chat and see if I notice any like common players that are coming up a lot that we can maybe talk about just so we can help out a couple people. So I see a couple people asking about Josh Downs. he's a top 20 receiver in my rankings. Like there's a lot of players I would start Josh Downs over. Like I see Tillman versus Downs easily. I see Chuba versus Downs. That's Downs for me as well. I see a lot of people asking about Tillman. Where do you have Tillman ranked?
I have Tillman ranked this week as my wide receiver 31. Actually, sorry, that's expert correction. Let me go to sort by mine. He's my wide receiver 30. So the guys that I have right above him would be, I like Cortland Sutton's game environment a ton against Baltimore, and he's actually quietly been a 20+% target share player in 75% of his games this year. So I do have him one spot higher, but like DeAndre Hopkins, Lab McConkey, Xavier Worthy. Again, maybe I move Xavier Worthy a little bit down because it is expected to rain a little bit. But regardless, any way you slice it, I would start him over guys like, JSN, Romeo Dubs now with the weather concerns, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Tolbert, Calvin Ridley. So I'm ahead of those type of guys.
Yeah, I'm going to just skim through a couple guys the way that I have them ranked at wide receiver that I've seen a couple times too. Just let me know if you disagree with any of these. Okay. Yeah. So one guy that I saw a lot was Jaden Reed. He's my wide receiver 15. I would very confidently start him over a lot of me. Okay, so he's a very high-ranked wide receiver for you as well. Josh Downs, like I said, is wide receiver 20 for me. 19. Khalil Shakir is 21 for me. 22. So I also have him very high with Amari Cooper out. Brian Thomas Jr., for those of you wondering where 18. I have Brian Thomas because he's coming in injured, I have him at 22. So I would start Downs and Shakir over him, Olave, Marvin Harrison, some of those guys as well. But Thomas generally a pretty top 24 type of play.
And you know what? Because it is late in the stream, I'll just show my top. I mean, I already did my top 30 or 36 wide receiver rankings, but if you guys want to see what it looks like as of this morning, we can just throw it on the screen, give you guys some extra value. So again, we won't do this every week, but it is about 6 minutes from kickoff. So hopefully this answers some questions. So these are sorted by my rankings. Again, you could also, if you are a member on the site, go sort by Corey's rankings and any of the other creators. Can you? Oh, dope. Okay, so we can do that.
Yeah, I don't think it actually consensuses them together. I think it's only sorted by one or the other, but you can see where we both have them ranked if there's any differences.
Yeah, so the difference, I mean, obviously that was going to be a difference, but aside from that, everything else is pretty standard. I have a Monero rated higher than you. I'm assuming you probably got some weather concerns in there, which is why you dropped them a bit, which is fine. These guys are pretty comparable. I'm assuming maybe. Yeah, okay. So you have Puka one spot higher of Cup. I have Cup a couple.
Yeah, I need to move. So I'm actually going to swap those two right now because I'm going to move I'm going to move Nakua down to 12 just because of the injury concern coming in. I'm going to move Cup up to 6 just because of Puka's injury concern. So
perfectly reasonable. Again, some of the other ones like Garrett Wilson was already locked in. I had him high, so that's whatever. I have Olave higher than you. So the reason why I'm on Olave is he had 14 targets and a 36% target share in the first game without Rashid Shaheed and him both on the field because obviously he missed the game with concussion. And now Derek Carr's expected back in a matchup that they should obliterate with 26 implied points. So
yeah, if you want to keep scrolling because there's a lot of people, the questions that they're having is more in this next range here.
Yeah. Okay. So BTJ, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney have a little bit higher.
I have Mooney a little bit lower than you. I have Shakir ahead of him right now. So that would be a little bit of a difference for me there.
Is paying for questions not a thing anymore? There's no super chats on our YouTube page, but the way to skip the line is by going over to Flock Fantasy. So we're showing you our wide receiver rankings on Flock because there's about 5 minutes until the end of the live stream. But if you do want to skip the line on Sundays, again, we're not going to be showing our rankings every single week. We're just kind of showing you guys this because we had some questions about these wide receivers. So if you do want to skip the line moving forward, it would be on flockfantasy.com. Purchase code FSC, and you are able to submit trade review, start sit question, team review, anything you want really on the site. Super message. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then we also have dynasty rankings and articles and stuff like that. Keep scrolling down really quick. I don't have Worthy quite as high as you. I have McConkey over him. As you can see there, I have Worthy at 31 because of the weather concerns.
I also have Hopkins a lot higher,
a little bit higher than you as well by the looks of it.
I have one spot higher, but I have Hopkins a lot higher than you do.
Yeah. I have Tillman at 34, so I'm a little bit lower on Tillman given the matchup this week. We're both kind of
This is outrageous, Bush. Explain yourself here. 49.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I'll move him up.
But yeah, I mean, we'll just give you guys a look at the top 40. Hopefully that gave you guys some value. If
Go to the running backs too. A couple people asked me running backs.
Keon Coleman or Tillman? I'll just show you this right now. Keon Coleman versus Tillman. I have Keon Coleman ranked here at 32, and I have Tillman at 30. But with the news of 34. If the news of Cooper wanted to sway you Coleman, that's fine. I do have Tillman 2 spots higher. So again, you guys can see it all on the screen.
Yeah, show the running backs really quick too, just because a lot of people are asking about RBs.
Yep. Barkley, Kyron. I had Brees locked in a little bit higher than you did, so unfortunately he kind of had a bad game. Bijan. I have Joe Mixon higher than you, so like, yeah. I mean, I'm
I
always
have
going to
Henry at
Joe
11.
higher.
Don't yell at me. It's just a bad matchup.
Fair. I'm at 8.
He's still obviously a start. I just think he's going to perform worse than like Kamara. I have Kamara at 5 because of Kendre and Jamal Williams both being out.
Trust me, I really badly wanted to put both Gibbs and HN above Kamara and Henry, but I was also scared of getting yelled at. Aaron Jones. Are there any real big discrepancies here between us?
Like, we both have Chase Brown at 4. I have him for 14. You have him no, we both have him at 14.
I have Hunt higher than you.
You have Tracy a little bit higher than me too. I have him at 19.
Yeah, you have Montgomery higher than me.
That's not a surprise. I always like Montgomery more than you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You have Eckler a little bit higher. I have Rico a little bit higher. I mean,
I moved Dowdle up a few minutes ago. I guess it just hasn't refreshed yet.
Oh, fair. But regardless, yeah, these would be our rankings. So hopefully you got some value from that. Again, we wanted to make sure you guys were fully set. Apologies for kind of lagging a little bit along sometimes. So we always got to reward you.
Honestly,
guys
I don't mind doing that every week. Let us know in the chat. If you guys want to see last 5 minutes before kickoff, we'll just show you our rankings quick. If you want to stick around, I think that's not a bad option. Of course, if you want to see our rankings all week long, we update them Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, or whatever. Our weekly rankings manifesto is the best way to get that. That's available on the site. It's available for free on Underdog. Speaking of Underdog, I'll just show quickly my pick'ems. What's up?
Yeah, I'll show mine in a second too. Real quick, Jake Glazer reported Puka Nakua's a full go this week. Full go. Okay. So sounds like no limitations. If you have Puka Nacua, celebrate his status because it looks like he is fully healthy.
For sure. Okay, so quickly, if you guys want to tail these picks, use promo code FSE up to 1,000 in bonus cash. Like I said, you will also get our weekly start sit rankings manifesto for free once you make a play on the site and make a deposit. You can get this Jalen Hurts free square if you tail these picks as well. New customers can add that in. I'll quickly do my running back pick'ems. Chase Brown, I like him to score a touchdown this week. Obviously, he's just set up really well with Zach Moss out for this game. I like Chuba Hubbard to go higher than 66.5 rushing yards, get back on track against an easy run defense. And then I like Tracy to catch more than 2.5 passes in this game as well. And then my wide receiver picks. Josh Downs, 57.5 receiving yards. I believe this is I think it's up to like 62.5 or 63 by now. When I got this, it was a lot lower, but I still feel good about it. Khalil Shakir, 20.5 longest reception. He's caught at least a 20-yard pass in every game except for one that he's been healthy in. And then Cortland Sutton, 47.5 receiving yards. The Ravens are 31st against fantasy wide receivers, so I feel pretty good about that. And again, if you want to tail those, head on over to Underdog, use code FSE. I'm sure Danny is loading his in right now. Everybody loves that 5-minute rankings. I'm sure they do. But yeah, I think it's a pretty decent one to throw in at the end for people who stick around all the way to the end of the stream.
Yeah, another incentive for you guys. I know a lot of people get a little hyper sometimes at the end of streams. You know, like, where do you have this guy ranked? You know, we always see all the full caps, the repeat questions. It's like, we won't need any of that toxicity now moving forward if you're giving you guys a little sneak peek. So yeah, here I put my wide receivers in. Can you show them on the screen quick? I'm screenshotting my running backs right now.
Yeah, so Danny's got CeeDee Lamb to score a touchdown. Pretty obvious high-scoring game environment, I would imagine. I'm going to try and guess your analysis on this situation. Justin Jefferson, higher than 83.5 receiving yards. I mean, it's fucking Justin Jefferson. He's really good. And the Colts are really bad against fantasy wide receivers. And then Chris Olave, higher than 7.5 targets. Well, you just basically said it. He had like a huge target share without Rashid Shaheed in the lineup. And Derek Carr is back for this game. So how did I do?
Yeah, no, pretty damn solid. Yeah, like CeeDee Lamb, high scoring game environment, 24.5 implied Cowboys points, really like that. Justin Jefferson, like you said, very, very prime matchup on Sunday Night Football against the Colts. And then Chris Olave, I mean, I kind of alluded to it like when we were talking about Olave earlier, but 36% target share, 14 targets last week. 7.5 just felt like a really good number. And I saved this file as running backs and running backs without even realizing. So shout out there. This next file is what I was talking about. Again, really quick, games have started and the Cowboys are on, so I don't want to spend too much longer. Dak Prescott higher than 265.5. Like I mentioned with CeeDee Lamb, very, very good matchup, very, very good game environment. I think this is the bounce back after throwing a couple picks last week. Tyron Tracy, he's been a workhorse running back each of the last 4 weeks. It's already been reported Daboll wants to use him as a workhorse, and we have seen in the last 2 weeks with Singletary healthy, that be the case. So we like the higher on 13.5 rushing attempts. And then Jahmyr Gibbs higher than 66.5. You kind of mentioned the weather concerns. That's also another factor, but the main analysis that I did when I went to the short was that his workload split versus Montgomery in the last 2 weeks has been the highest that it's been this entire year. So I trust, he's been the most efficient runner between the tackles this year. Like he's averaging like 6.5 yards per carry.
Oh yeah, he's been really good this year between the tackles, and of course, there's other games on later. If you guys did miss those 1 p.m. picks, there's of course 4 p.m. games on. There's a Sunday night game, and follow me over on TikTok too. I always do primetime Thursday night football, Monday night football slates for Underdog as well. But yeah, appreciate you guys for joining us. Good luck this week. Hopefully, you guys get the dub.
Take care, brother. Said take care to you instead of the audience. That's awesome.